Fight!
Hello, welcome to episode 64 of Click Play, not Twitch Play. I did play the wrong intro earlier, but I am a little bit hungover. But joining me to help me get through this slight hangover, it's Jordan Reese. Straight in there.
Fuck up.
I
the wrong intro.
I did play the Twitch Play intro. I got people excited. They were all thinking it was Twitch Play for a minute.
They wouldn't get excited about that, Ben.
No? Oh, the viewers say the viewer numbers disagree. It's really strange.
It'll tail off. We've been doing this for 2 years. You know, I've got my regulars. They know what they get with this show.
Dom Beagles
Insight.
and that.
Yeah.
Intelligent
all
conversation on here.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah.
Insight. Yeah.
Who the fuck is Andre?
Andre is it's one of I've seen one of these films before. Is it where they're like pick random people up and then have you seen it? Isn't it?
Fuck bless.
It's something like that, yeah. Hey.
It's like a Cloverfield film.
Probably better, more interesting to watch. Andre, what are you doing? Okay,
Have we got audio from Andre, or have we just got this scatty video?
I think we
Is
just
he with
got
anybody?
I know his video's
Is he with any hot babes?
Yeah, his it's what's that? Oh, what's that name of the buck truck or something like that? Okay. Well, there's Andre. Hey. Now he's just smiling at a talk. Okay, well, I'm BiggusBennus. This is Jordan Reese, and this is Andre's face. Probably better if you can't hear him. Mel's. He's been driven by two ladies. Don't say anything, Jordan. He just went to the microphone. I was like, nope. Stop him. Oh, wow. But yeah, hello, everybody. This is Click Play episode 64, your favourite video game podcast, and possibly your only one in the world. So don't listen to any others, because you don't need to. You've got us. But yeah,
we were the first and probably still the best, I would argue.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't even think you can argue that. Anybody going to clickplay.com, by the way? I'm not sure why it's not working. It says access denied if you go to clickplay.com. I don't know why. But yeah, if that continues, go and watch the podcast later on YouTube. Because YouTube doesn't get taken down ever. So how's everybody? How are you, John? How have you been? It feels like forever.
Good, yeah. It's been 2 weeks. It's been a royally nice weekend in the UK.
Oh,
See what I did?
Did you get an invite?
See what I did? Yes, but I just couldn't go. I had too many games to play.
Yeah.
I knew the show was coming up, and I was like, "Look, I can't. Like, if I don't play these games and I don't go to the podcast with content, like people kick off. People are not happy about it." So I said, "No, I'm not a royalist. I'm a Republican." But it seemed like it was a nice day. People seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either royalist or Republican, but I can, people in love getting married. Why not? Fine.
Why not?
Why not? Why don't?
Why not?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Why not?
Piss on their parade.
Appointed by God. Why not?
Oh God, I watched a bit of the ceremony. Jesus, amount of God this, God that.
Hallelujah!
Oh yeah, and the dude that got that rather excited. Apparently, buffering more than usual. Buffering more than Jordan applies suntan lotion. Is it buffering? Oh, we've only got source quality because we started late today. So you can only watch if you've got good internet. I'm afraid. Exclusive.
Lucky Rob.
Yeah. Oh, does he live in he's from the valleys, isn't he? Dial up over there.
Literally right now, he's living in the valleys. Yeah.
Valleys. Mellum shouts, "Burn the monarchy!" Oh wow.
Oh.
He's just burn him alive. All right.
Why isn't Mellum with us today?
Mellum is working, unfortunately. He's working over, and he claims he's working. He's watching us right now, and he's in the chat, so I don't know if that counts as work.
Yeah, it must be quite an easy job if he's just sat here moderating our chat feed.
Yeah, it's probably more work he's actually doing now. Can't you see I'm working? He says. Yeah, I'm. So I got a bit of a headache. I drank quite a lot of beer last night. Did a 12-hour stream to celebrate 2,000 followers on Twitch. And every single one of them is here in the chat. Hello, everyone. So it was, kind of late. And then Rosie Rabbit. Shout out to Rosie Rabbit. She had her birthday stream, and people had made a like a video of all of her viewers saying happy birthday, and they sent her some things, and it was all very emotional. But she did start it at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't go to sleep until about 10:30. I don't know.
No,
I
that's disgusting.
got out of bed about 2 hours ago. Gone 6 o'clock. My sleep schedule is buggered right now.
Your hair isn't as kept as it usually is.
Oh no! I actually just came out of the shower. There we are. Shower head.
Nice.
But yeah, so it seems to be me and John, just like it was at the start, the good old days.
What's Andre's deal? Because we had a cam feed to him. He seemed to be in a car with some ladies. What's going on?
He's in California.
I worry about that boy. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, he's going off the rails a bit. Sent me a video of himself with a dog that jumped on his bed about 20 minutes ago, so I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll look after him. We'll make sure he's okay, but I don't know. There's somebody also in the go-to meeting in our conference call called Caller01. Whoever that person is.
Yep. Caller01, you're on.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I heard noise. It actually moved as though they said something.
Caller01. Brexit means Brexit.
Come and take our jobs. So yeah, John, how have you been? What have you been doing apart from the royal wedding? Marvel Comic Universe or something like that?
Yeah. So, as you know, I quite like to be part of the zeitgeist, Ben. You know this about me. It's been winding me up these last couple of weeks. The latest Avengers film came out, and I couldn't really relate because I dropped off the Marvel films after like Iron Man 2. So
yeah, me
at
too.
This point,
me
like
too.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've made a concerted effort in the last 2 weeks to catch up. So I've watched like 18 Marvel films in about 2 weeks, and today I kind of capped that off with watching the latest Avengers film. So I'm bang up to date. So if you've got any questions about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sans the TV stuff, because I'm not going to watch that. But in terms of the films, totally up to date.
Did you enjoy
all in my head?
Wonder Woman? Good or bad?
Not a Marvel film, Ben. Not sure if that was sarcasm or
I know it. No,
it was just a blind spot on your nerdism. But
what is she?
That's DC. That's so same kind of lineage as like Batman and all that. And she's not doing well. To be fair, in terms of the DC stuff, she's the only one that's done well so far.
Yeah.
And kind of beat. Oh, there's Laura. Look.
Hey, Laura. And puppy.
Yeah. Right.
When's your wedding, Jordan?
Next week today.
What? Happy wedding day. See, if you just had it a weekend before, you know, you could have had a royal wedding.
Yeah, it's quite good. We're on these kind of one-off, one-on weeks now with the podcast, because I can actually get married now without having to worry about rushing home to record a podcast.
Just run straight. Where's Jordan? Oh, he's just gone to do a podcast.
He does a podcast. It's nerdy. He's got video. Yeah, so the DC stuff. So they actually beat Marvel to the punch in terms of giving a woman like an exclusive film. And they did quite well. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. But the whole DC stuff seems to be on fire. Like if you can't get Batman right, then you fucked really, aren't you?
Female director as well, I think, wasn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Marvel stuff, like that latest one, that latest Avengers was really, really good. Really dark.
I heard it was good.
Ending.
What's your favorite?
Disappointed with my favorite is probably that one, because it's kind of culminating a lot of threads, and it's really dark. And you know, I like depressing stuff. The Captain America ones are pretty decent. Like the second and the third Captain America films are good.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is kind of I've never seen like a Bourne film, but it's more I imagine a Bourne film is like, which is interesting for that genre. I really didn't like Doctor Strange. I thought that was really boring. It's got Quentin Bumblesnatch or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Benedict Dick come in my snatch.
That's him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Controversially, really didn't like Black Panther. I think people made a lot of that film from a political standpoint rather than the merits. It doesn't stand up against the rest of them. I thought he was pretty boring.
Yeah, I've not seen. I think Iron Man 2 was the last. No, I saw. Yeah, since Iron Man 2, I've seen Deadpool, which I liked. And the new one's meant to be just as good.
That's kind of a subset, so that isn't really in this universe. But yeah.
I also saw. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. That's my favorite, I think.
So that was their last chance with me. So like I thought, right, I've got to get back into this. And I looked at the list of the films and where I dropped off previously. And the next film that I needed to see was Thor 2, Thor Dark World, I think it's called. And that's known as pretty much universally the poorest of all the films. So
Yeah.
it was a good one to jump back in on. And I watched like 10 minutes of it, and like it starts off in London, and there's some like London kids in a warehouse or something.
All right,
and
young man.
Really, and Natalie Portman of all things. And I turned it off in like 10 minutes. And then I give it another go, and I turned it off again in like 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to get, because like I can't just go and watch this latest one. I need to see them all in the right order to get back into it. And I thought, right, I'm stumbling at the first hurdle here, but I managed to get through that one, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. And then I think the next one might have been Guardians of the Galaxy, and that one blew my tits off. It was so good. Like, yeah, really funny, fantastic soundtrack. It's got Batista.
Yeah, who is really good.
Yeah, he smashes it. He's so good in the second one. He's really good in this latest Avengers as well. Like, he's really found a niche there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
good
watch. I'll watch the latest Avengers. I'll try and catch up on a few. I've heard Logan's really good. I think that's Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah, again, kind of not in that universe, because Sony own Fox, own the rights to that one, which is all a bit weird. But Disney have now bought Fox, so eventually the X-Men will kind of come into this. But it's weird, like the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe currently is, they never talk about mutants, but then mutants are a massive part of the comic side of it. But they've sorted out Disney just buying everybody, which is I think will be good for everyone. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Netflix is just going to turn to TV shows, and then like that Disney streaming service will be like where everyone goes for their movies. But
it's weird. It's like we moved away from TV channels, but Netflix is slowly becoming its own TV channel, because it seems to be preferencing its own content over other people. So then eventually, if you take that to its extreme, what's the difference between, it's just an online channel then, isn't it? They're just producing their own content.
I've actually been watching quite a lot of Netflix, because I've discovered that you can download Netflix and watch it on your phone. So I've been going to work and back and watching quite a few documentaries. I watched Wild Wild Country. Have you seen that one? About the cult in America. Like, just takes over a random, I think it's in Oregon, just like this cult takes over this really tiny town.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned a lot when Far Cry 5 was about. As a bit of an influence. I
definitely get the hint of that. And it sounds like, I don't know, it's just really well put together documentary, and you see both sides. And I think a good documentary, you do see both sides. And another one I saw was...
What's the side for the cult? Like, what's the argument for the cult?
They're kind of just happy, nice people that just want to be positive, and they're not actually, but then they go a bit dark, and also the other people.
It's funny how that happens.
But then the other people in the village, they're the total kind of stereotypical redneck. We don't want them around here, and they interview them as like, oh, look at them, and like typical kind of Daily Mail, Breitbart. Well, maybe not Fox News viewers. Just really, yeah, they're quite funny to see. But it swings left and right, and like depending on which side you're kind of... I know, I watched it with an open mind, which I didn't watch a documentary about Rachel Dolezal with an open mind at the start. Have you seen that one?
No, I've not seen the documentary, but I know the lady of which you speak.
Yeah, and I watched that, and I went in with total prejudice, thinking this lady's a nutter. Came out...
It might be so.
Yeah.
I can imagine why you'd go in with that. I've seen a lot of people come out of that documentary quite sympathetic towards it.
Yeah, I came out I mean, she's obviously troubled. Like, everything she's done, to try and help people. So it's like I don't understand why people are so cruel, other than she's a bit deluded.
I'm sure she's a nice person, but I can't for the life of me imagine that there's a plot point within this documentary that would make me kind of leave it thinking, oh no, she was right to pretend that she was black.
No, I'd never come out with that. I just thought, and I think the impression you get from that is thinking, yeah, she's obviously a bit screwed up. She was abused and stuff as a child. You know, she's obviously not quite there and with it, but like what she's done, she's messed up, but her heart's in the right place. I think that's what I put on Twitter.
I think she's a symptom of our times. I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Getting too deep into it.
She's checking social media pretty much at the beginning, and then I think later she doesn't do it so much, but she's just constantly, I've got to check social media. I'm checking social media, and she's just getting abuse constantly every day.
It's an interesting concept. Like, we live in an age where, certainly from like a trans political perspective, like it's pretty commonly accepted now that you can absolutely self-identify in terms of gender and stuff like that, and then it does raise an interesting question in terms of, well, what's stopping somebody from self-identifying in terms of race. I would argue those two things are extremely different, but I think
Me too.
like I said, it's a sign of the times, and the kind of the floodgates that we've opened. I think this is the stuff that we'll see over the next couple of decades, and we need to tackle with. Which is unfortunate.
Melvin says, I came out thinking I still don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't think I came out with thinking like I actually care about her.
So she's a nice person, I assume.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She, like I said, heart's in the right place, brain's somewhere else. So, and she's got some really. Like,
when you say heart's in the right place, what like
she wants?
Surely I would assume the thrust of this documentary is trying to explore why she self-identifies as a black person. And correct me if I'm wrong. No black heritage. Am I right?
Well, no, but she was. I kind of was switching off a little bit through it, but her parents fostered like 3 black siblings for her, and they were all abusing, and they used to just like they'd beat them all the time, and then I think then so that for her to
parents would abuse the kids.
Yeah, well, no, I think it was no her parents. I think it was her real parents would abuse the foster siblings of hers, and her. Yeah. And I think maybe she did that to kind of relate to them and to empathize with them. So it's it's like I say, it's messed up, but like she was always trying to help rights, get further black rights, and she's like I said, she's everything she did, she seemed to do with her heart in the right place, but it's just how she did it. And
so what is her response when somebody turns around to her and says, from a factual point of view, you're a Caucasian person, you're not black in any single way?
I think
what is her go-to response to that?
That it's not about your skin color. It's not your skin color. It's a feeling.
So this is the hellhole that we find ourselves in, isn't it? Okay.
Something that I can relate to, but she can, and I think she might be the only person in the world that can. But I don't know.
I think there's definitely. I'm not saying it's got the kind of the momentum of the trans movement, but there's if you look for them, there's definitely people. There's trans disabilists, there's trans race people. They're there. I imagine a lot of them are attention seekers or mentally disturbed, but they're definitely there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's an attention seeker, but she's definitely got some issues, and she's raised some kids who are like really, really well brought up, and like they showed her like she does all this activism and stuff, and then she's not been able to find a job because of like all the news stuff, and then they showed her
she's black. It's racism. No one will imply her because she's black.
No, but then they showed her some of her painting that she was doing, and paintings, and she's like, "Oh, this is what I do in my free time," and it's like, "Oh, your painting is really, really, really good." So hopefully she'll stick along, go along with her painting, because she's
what does she paint?
A fantastic artist. Black women,
of course.
But she's really, really good as an artist. Xavier says you get age fluid people. Yeah, I do that. I feel old sometimes.
Age fluid people.
That means you sometimes get really old and sometimes really young.
But I would assume these people are actually claiming to be younger than they are.
Oh yeah, that's called.
We're all age fluid. Surely we don't I don't necessarily always feel exactly 31. I feel about 42 right now.
I count my age as how often Pluto goes around. Not necessarily this Earth. I'm not. What about the other documentary I watched was I watched 3 documentaries. Another one called Evil Genius. Have you seen that?
Right.
That's really good.
No.
It's about this dude that went to a bank and robbed a bank, and he had a bomb around his neck, and then the police stopped him, and the bomb went off and killed him. And then it's kind of that's in like the first 10 minutes, and it's a 4-part 1 hour per episode series, but it's a really interesting story about who, what, and then like a few weeks later there was a body found just around the corner in someone's freezer, and then there's this dude who dies mysteriously. It's really, really interesting. American figure.
It's all kind of taken off since I think Serial was the first one that really did it, like that Serial podcast, and then obviously Making a Murderer is probably the most successful one so far. I do worry that I suppose it always happens with documentaries, but certainly this new kind of breed of really hyper successful. Was that one on Netflix?
Yeah, they're all Netflix special, Netflix originals, I think.
Yeah, it does seem to be that there's a race towards finding the sensational story versus like I wonder what they're not telling you, I guess, in order to make it more sensational. But that is what it is. It's entertainment. So just keep that in mind.
It's true. All right. So that was the Netflix special of Click Click Play. Hope you had a good time. we'll be back. Yeah. But so John, you said last, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, that if I finish Zelda: The Wind Waker before Detroit Become Human came out, you'd give me £20 or something like that.
Yeah.
You're not. Yeah, that £20 is safe, Jordan.
Okay.
I
good.
think you have sabotaged.
You owe me £20 then. That's how bets work, Ben.
Wasn't a bet, was it?
All right. Okay.
You said I will give you £20. But
Okay.
yeah,
we'll go back. We'll go back and scan the footage.
yeah, what's it? This thing here, this piece of crap, the Wii U game controller.
Awful, isn't it? Awful.
After less than 2 hours of playing that game, just says okay. Well, it starts disconnecting and just flashing, saying please connect, And I realized it's
no
just
way
the battery.
to charge it as you're playing.
Oh yeah, but it just doesn't do it. It only charges when it's all turned off. For me, I don't know. I think this is faulty.
What a fucking abortion of a console.
Yeah,
it's like embarrassingly bad, that console, and the fact, like, I'm probably going to spend a lot of this episode fawning over the Switch because I fucking just love my Switch so much. And
yeah, the Switch
pretty much my
great
console at the moment. But to go from that to this,
yeah,
it's insane. Like, it seems like Nintendo are trying to like erase that out of history as well. If you think about what they're doing with a lot of the first party stuff and just releasing it on Switch as if it was never, as if they're totally new and they've never been released before.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, and it'll be funny if you think about what Nintendo does in terms of nostalgia, and in a lot of games it'll have little call outs to its previous hardware, so the SNES and the GameCube especially and stuff like that. I really wonder, like, the GameCube didn't set the world on fire. I think it's like 26 million sold, something like that, but it's still two to three times more than the Wii U. And I wonder if I wonder how much they'll refer to the Wii U moving forwards, because I think it's probably a really sore subject for them right now.
I think I will try and I'm going to get a Pro controller, but I think they're like €20 somewhere because I do want to finish it. It's a really good game, but it won't be for a while, unfortunately.
I would probably recommend it's bound to come to Switch at some point. Absolutely bound to come to Switch. Yeah. So I'd probably just wait at this point. Or emulate it.
Yeah. Also, as well, I put the name down as Ben instead of Link. It says name your save file. So I named the save file. I was like, okay, save file Ben. And then the dude's Ben, but with a small b as well. So it looks really out of place. Instead of Link, the Link is just, hey, Ben with a small b. Here's a telescope.
Yeah.
I might go and, yeah, maybe. I've got enough games to play. But yeah. So Andre's in, guys, if you're just tuning in and wondering where Andre Mellum are. Mellum is in the chat. He's doing some quality modding in there. We're on the big screen, apparently. CQ says hello. Hello, CQ. And yeah, so let's go into the games. What games have we been playing? John, do you wanna do the games?
Ben, I'm gonna tell you about the games that I've been playing. I've been playing some games on my Switch, yeah. I fucking love video games. Let's talk about them now. We do a podcast because we love video games, and this is where the song's going to end.
Woo! Beautiful. It's like having Tom Jones here. So, you've been playing games on your Switch, you say?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, I say that. The only that's not true. The game that I've written down is probably the one that we should talk about is State of Decay, which is obviously a PC/Xbox game.
Oh, and I hear it's amazing, that game.
Yeah, so it's probably illustrative that I just forgot that that's what I've been playing, really. I'm more concentrated on just the random stuff I've been playing on Switch. But yeah, the big game that I've played in the last 2 weeks, the big AAA first party, not first party, but well, you'd assume so based on the amount of coverage that Microsoft has given it, where it kind of stands in its kind of release schedule. You'd think that this game is going to be a AAA release, but it's absolutely not a AAA release. It's not an A release; it's a C release. So disappointing, and kind of full discretion. I'm only maybe 2 hours into it, but I can just tell already what this game is. So, did you ever play the first game, Ben?
No, I didn't, and it just doesn't seem a game I would enjoy. I saw people fawning kind of over the trailer when it was revealed. I think it was last E3. And they're like, "Oh, it's great." I just could not see anything that would interest me in playing that game. Don't you have to use numbers and write stuff down, and it's all like it turns into a management sim at some point?
No, not really. Like, the first one was pretty straightforward. It was a very ambitious game. It definitely felt when you were playing it that they had co-op in mind, and they never got to do it because they didn't have the scope for it. But it's a zombie survival game. You do have a base. You don't necessarily play as the same person all the time. You can switch between people on your base. And like I said, the first one built up a bit of a cult following, and rightly so. I really enjoyed it for an Xbox 360 game, and for one that at the time wasn't necessarily considered this big kind of release, but crept up on everybody, and they did like a re-release, which added some content and stuff. Like, people liked it, and it's one of those games where you're like, oh yeah, I'm really glad that a big company like Microsoft has latched themselves to this studio, and they're going to pump some money and some talent into it, and the next one is going to fulfill the potential. From what I can tell, I'd rather play the first one over the second one. Like, it's definitely more dense. There seems to be a lot more mechanics in there, a lot more kind of screens and things that you need to build up over time, and RPG mechanics and stuff like that. But the big thing that strikes me is that the game runs like absolute shit, like
really?
absolute shit. Like,
you're playing on Xbox One X, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm not playing on the Game Pass thing. Like, I bought this game and I paid for the full version. It was like 40 quid, so I could play.
What kind of person would buy a full price game that's available on the Game Pass that may be disappointing at some point? Who on earth would do that?
It's so much better than Sea of Thieves, but that's not a high bar.
No.
So, so I first of all started playing it on PC, and I was like, like, I've got a decent PC. I'm running a 1080. I've got like 32 gig of RAM. I got a decent CPU in there. Like, there's no games really that should give me that much trouble. And it didn't really feel like it was maxing out my PC. It just felt like the game was fucking sluggish. Like, the game runs slow. It's got this horrible motion blur when you move the camera around. You can people complain about post effects and stuff like that in games, and I never really noticed it. But this one, like, when I was spinning the camera around, there's a visible line over the character where it's doing some kind of weird motion blur stuff.
Yeah.
Just looked terrible. One thing that really annoyed me about the PC version was that in order for me to change the resolution, well, put it this way, the resolution is mapped to the native resolution of your PC. So if your desktop is running at 4K, which is mine is, it wants to run the game in 4K, and there's no way to change that. It seems really odd because no other fucking game does that.
No.
I generally run games at 1080p just to make sure I'm getting like that 60 frames a second, and especially with this game because it runs like shit anyway. I was like, right, I'm totally gonna pump that down to 1080, and there's no way, like, it's blanked out. You can run it in windowed mode, but that means that you can see your taskbar. Basically,
no.
I'm like, no,
not even
borderless,
not even windowed full screen, because that can.
I've got this fucking 55-inch 4K TV, and I can see my taskbar when I'm running the game. Like, no. So eventually, I had to actually change my desktop settings to 1080p to get that game to run at 1080. How fucked up is that?
I've never heard that ever.
Like, I remember some games kind of doing similar things to that, like, years ago. But like, for essentially a console-centric game, and Microsoft making this fuss about it being, cross-play on PC and console, you'd assume that they'd have that stuff nailed. It's such a weird decision. I was going through the Reddit. Like, the Reddit is just fucking so negative in terms of bugs and stuff like that. You've already got people in there like saying, right, this is what you need to fuck around with in the the ini files to make it run okay, and all this kind of bollocks. So I thought, you know what, I've got an Xbox One X there with nothing to play. I'm gonna, well, as part of the installation on the PC, it forces you to download onto the Xbox. It literally just pops up a screen going, we're gonna try and install this. Really ambiguous. It's just like, we're going to try and do this on your Xbox. No, nothing to say, yeah, please don't.
Yeah.
Considering you're on a PC anyway, you can't stop it. It's going to happen.
What about if you've got like that data cap or something?
Exactly. Yeah. There's literally no option. It doesn't ask. It just says, okay, we're going to try and install this on your Xbox, and you just have to say okay, and then after that, it gives you the option to install it on your PC. So I'm like, right. So I turned on the Xbox. Lo and behold, it was already installed, which was convenient for me. Might not be ideal for everyone. Played it. Oh my god, that game runs like shit on my Xbox One X, like so bad. Like, I'm not like, it wasn't running great on the PC anyway, and I'm not a frame rate whore. Like, as long as it's doing a decent 30 frames a second on a console, I'm pretty comfortable. No, like, it was unplayable for me. And it was weird. It wasn't as if it was like frame pacing issues or anything. It wasn't kind of going up and down. It was just generally the pace that they'd made that game run and the way that it just felt fucking terrible. So straight away I had to delete that. What I would say is, in from a principle perspective, in terms of, I played it initially on PC, got through the tutorial, and then loaded it up on Xbox. That was really seamless in terms of my save crossing over and stuff like that. That was perfect. It's just a shame it was such a shit game to try it on. So I deleted it on the Xbox, went back to the PC. Like I said, changed my native resolution so that the game would run a little better, and then even I had to go into the settings and like change the camera sensitivity just to make the game kind of speed up a little bit, to make it feel like it was a little bit more fluid, and that did help. But it's still not great, and it looks terrible. Like nothing's going to change that. You know, you could be running this on some kind of NASA PC. The fact is, the art design's bad. It looks like a 360 game. There's no sense of scale to the world. It still feels like that old game. The world feels small. There's no like fog or anything like that to kind of hide what's going on. You can see pretty much everything. It just all looks really bland. The combat with the zombies feels poor. Like it just doesn't feel like something like you're going to be doing a lot of that, I assume, in this game, and it just doesn't feel very rewarding with guns or melee weapons. Dialogue is shit. The voice stuff is crap. There is. I imagine some people will absolutely love it. It's got the whole base management stuff in it, and you can go and take over new outposts and stuff like that. And you know what? It could be that in a couple of months' time, I come back on this show and say, you know what? I give it more of a try, and I found what I liked in it, and I found a rhythm, and I enjoy it. But the initial impressions and the presentational value that it's showing is terrible. And considering where Microsoft has placed this in its kind of release schedule, fucking completely unacceptable, especially on the back of God of War.
Yeah, yeah, they couldn't really compare the two. Melum in the chat says, if you don't have a power cord in the Xbox One, will it let you only install on PC? Or do you have to have it installed on Xbox first?
I don't know. I'm not going to unplug my Xbox to find out, but I would see. I imagine it's because the wording was that we will try, so I imagine that's covering itself in case your Xbox isn't wired up. But other than that, it's assuming that you're going to want it on your Xbox, and it's going to pipe it to it. And you can obviously turn on your Xbox and stop the download, but still, that's a really shitty process, I think.
Melum says, I think I'm going to wait for a green light from Jordan before I use any money on it. Any money on State of Decay? Yeah, but Melum says he really liked the original one. He said the first one's probably the best zombie single-player game. Ahead of The Last of Us. Melum.
If you're waiting for a green light from me, you're not going to get one. It's very much a red light. A red light. Stop.
Warning, keep away.
Like I do like the fact that it's 25 quid essentially. Like if you're waiting for a release day, whenever that.
Oh, we've lost Jordan's. Hello, Jordan. We've lost him. Can you hear? Nope. What? Why isn't this working? Jordan, let's go to Discord. But if we're going to, do you have Discord, Jordan? Let me devices. Yeah, the caller one was making some whistling noises, so I just clicked on it, and then he went silent. So we'll. It's gonna message on here. All right, here we go. I mute. Yeah. Let me unmute. You were Jordan was the caller. You have to unmute him in. You were the caller one, but he was whistling at me for some reason, and then I clicked on it, and it then just said that maybe he needs to leave and come back in. I don't know. Too many devices. Yeah. Alt F4. If you go into the waiting room on Discord, Jordan, we can speak on there if you prefer. Might be easier. Good old. Oh wait, no, he's. You know what this caller one thing is? There we go. Okay, so. Hello, Jordan.
Hi.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Oh, and that sounds better as well. You were the caller one for some reason.
Yeah, it does show 3 participants, one of them being me. I think it's because if I have an issue, I just refresh the page instead of like logging out or something.
We've got 4 participants right now. We've got a F, and we've got a Jordan that doesn't move.
Can you check the other one?
Oh. Do you have your webcam?
Oh yeah, sorry. Let me just put it.
Everyone just gets
Let
me
put some
now.
clothes on.
Yeah, no,
Cool,
it
here I am.
was
So,
whistling. So I
State of
clicked.
Decay, don't buy it.
Yeah. Don Bigos is flash
Bad game.
BIOS. Yeah. So, are there any games out at the moment? I just feel like it's a bit like slow with games. This year just doesn't seem as good as last year when it comes to games.
Oh, I don't know. Like you've got hopefully Beyond Two Souls, not Beyond Two Souls. Detroit is going to be decent. I hope.
Yeah.
Did you play that demo?
No, I don't want to play the demo. I just want to go in totally blind. I downloaded Heavy Rain today because that came free with. I didn't realize that I had Heavy Rain for free with the pre-order. Is that a good game?
Yeah, like I prefer Beyond, but Heavy Rain for its time was good. I think it's really fucking depressing. Like really, really depressing. But very one note throughout.
I gotta admit, I don't know what these games are. I just bought it because it looked really cool.
They're kind of a modern representation of an adventure game. So like a point and click type game with a lot of QTs. I've always quite enjoyed them. Like I said, Heavy Rain is super, super depressing. Never really changes its tone. A staple of the studio is that any character can die, and if they die, that's your story, and it just continues, which is pretty cool. But you should have Beyond Two Souls as well because it's the PS Plus game, and I heavily recommend that. I think that's definitely the strongest game so far, as far as I'm concerned.
When did that come out?
A lot of people point to Heavy Rain, but I think that's just because it's so consistent in its tone.
When did Beyond come out?
It was a late PS3 game.
Okay, so I might give that a go. I'm gonna stick the PS4 in the living room and just like I've stopped streaming story-based games now. Just I'm gonna like play them off stream because I was playing one the other day. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been, it wasn't God of War, but that was one that I was just playing off stream for a bit and thinking I'm getting so much more immersed into this game when I don't have like people chatting and talking about it at the side. Which I mean it's great, but it's when I'm streaming, it's something I might. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of. I can't really get really into the story.
You're playing for an audience then. Like I find it on a smaller scale. Like if a friend comes over and I'm playing a single player game, you're not really playing that game anymore. You're showing that game off to those people and kind of playing in a way that you think that they want you to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. But probably quite difficult for a Twitch streamer to manage that, I guess.
Yeah, no, and it's also story-based games. I know a lot of people when I'm playing it, they're coming and going, "Hey, I'm just gonna say hi and I've got to leave because I want to play this game later," or "I haven't finished this game," or "I've no idea what's going on, so I'm off. See you later." So
that's the point.
So yeah, I've just decided to Twitch.
You tend to play like quite new games as well, so I guess that's gonna discourage people from watching your stream if it's something that they intend to play in a week or a month.
But not anymore. I have changed. I've changed myself as a streamer, and I've been playing building games. Not Minecraft though. Well, Fortnite. Yeah, I was playing Fortnite yesterday. I've had such a good time with that game. When it comes to multiplayer games, I don't have as much fun on any other game right now than Fortnite. Especially.
I'm really hoping on that Switch release.
Yes, me too. I want to play it at work.
If it comes to Switch, I'll play the shit out of that.
Yeah, it seems to work on mobile. It's coming to Android very soon. So I don't think I'll get it on there, but I really want Switch release, and I'm pretty sure they will. Maybe like the Skyrim, it'll come out on every device.
It's rumored for E3.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been playing building games. City Skylines I got for €6, and Planet Coaster. But yeah, City Skylines is the Sim City I've wanted for so long. It's really, really good game. Everything you want from Sim City, but like I was playing it, so obviously it's just like SimCity. You build certain paths, and then it lets you have some areas around the roads to like select as industrial, or as commercial, or as residential, and then they have kind of high intensity residential that you unlock later, and like you just color it in that color, and then eventually that part of the building that part of the city will grow. Very, very similar.
So do you know what that dev is releasing next?
Yeah, I was reading the other day, but I was half asleep. Maybe this morning I was reading it. What was it again?
Jurassic Park.
I thought it was a different game. But yeah, the Jurassic Park I've pre-ordered.
It is Frontier, right?
Yeah, I thought Frontier also had a game that was nothing like this at all, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah, not even like Elite. So they make Elite, but they've also made Planet Coaster, and they're making this new Jurassic World game. which I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think looking at it, it looks a little bit more bare bones than these games. But if it's anything like this, then the updates are going to be huge. Yeah, you're right. It's Elite Dangerous, and that's interesting. Frontier was also Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Kind of explains why that was quite a good game. But yeah, if you like SimCity as a kid, this is brilliant. It looks stunning. It's €6. If anybody in the chat wants it, just type !cities, and you can get it for €6. But there's loads of DLC that I haven't even touched yet, which I probably will get on sale because it seems to be something that's always on sale. And it's a really cool game to stream. Yeah, I've playing it is great, but also just having people. It's one of those that you can do other things while you're actually playing it. But when I was playing it, some people who've played this a lot have said, it turns like end game. It just turns into a traffic managing sim, and they're not wrong about that. It's just I've had gridlock in certain areas, but then you can just pause it, delete loads of roads, kind of rework it, remap it, without having any real hit, like suffering any hits to it. But yeah, are you a fan of SimCity, Jordan?
Not really. I haven't got much of a history with games like that. I played a game called Constructor on PS1, which was kind of like a SimCity game, but a little kind of higher level. Didn't really get into the kind of the more detailed stuff. And you played as like I think you played as like, or you played against mafia people or something like that. I've tried City Skylines. I just when you look at like images and videos and people are fucking around in their cities, I'm like, yeah, totally, that looks really cool. And then you start something and there's just nothing there, and it's like, right, plan your sewerage and plan your roads, and I'm like,
yeah,
no, I don't care. I'd much rather like download, and you can probably do this, I assume. Like, I'd rather download like a completed city and then just fuck it up.
Yeah, no, part of me, the fun is like starting from nothing and then just seeing it grow and grow. Obviously, on stream, people coming in and be like, "Whoa, look at the size of your city now!" Or "Wow, you've added that area." It's a fun game. It looks, like I said, it's a stunning game. I think it's been out 3 years, 4 years or so, but the graphics and the color schemes, and I think there's some like DLC that like allows you to have kind of nightclubs and. Yeah, it's
got that Knights DLC, isn't it?
Yeah,
do you remember the
DLC.
context of when that game came out? Like it was not really controversial, but it was noteworthy in terms of what game it came out close to.
Was it the latest SimCity?
Yeah, totally. So like SimCity, I think probably came out a little bit before, and was obviously totally kind of bad guy EA, always online. You know, it was kind of, the cities were compact, and you had a certain grid radius that you could build in, which was quite small. Everybody basically hated it. And then City Skylines came out, and everybody was like, okay, this is the game that we wanted. Goodbye.
And that exactly the same thing happened with Planet Coaster, with Roller Coaster Tycoon. Roller Coaster Tycoon World came out 2 days before. I think it was 2 days before, or 2 days after Planet Coaster.
Right, yeah.
And I think I mentioned it on the podcast because it's only been out a year or so. I looked on Twitch about 5 days after they'd both been released, and there was something like 30,000 people watching Planet Coaster streams, and two people in the whole world watching Roller Coaster Tycoon World streams. That's just
it's almost as if you just make a fucking good video game, people will buy it and it'll become successful. I think somebody needs to have a word with Microsoft and say, you know what, guys, just make a fucking good game.
Yeah,
like it's not as if PlayStation are making these games which are destined to sell loads and loads. It's because they're making fucking really good games, and the word of mouth is really good, and people go and buy them. Whereas I would like to say that Microsoft is kind of designing by committee. They're not even doing that, as far as I can tell. They just stopped pumping money into video games. Just don't make them anymore.
No,
they just gave up.
Who knows what's next? But yeah, I've been playing Planet Coaster as well. Still, really good game. They've actually released a DLC. They've been also releasing DLC in City Skylines. If I want to buy the base game, it's €6. If I want to buy all of the DLC, it's €100. That's how much DLC there is for cities. It's pretty extreme, and people are not so happy about that.
What's the mod scene like?
The mods is huge. A lot of people said don't get the DLC because the mods are everything. And I've been on there. I've been downloading stuff. Same with Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster mods are insane. I don't understand how people manage to make a McDonald's restaurant out of the
It's on
stuff.
Alien Ride. Like I'm a big
Yeah.
Alien fan, and somebody made this proper, like really impressive actually,
Yeah.
Alien Ride.
There's some crazy stuff that the people have managed to mod with Planet Coaster. City Skylines I've not looked too much at. I had a look, and the top mod was traffic management mod, so you can like control like the lanes and the traffic lights and stop signs and stuff around the city, which really did help, and also a few special roundabouts, which were really useful. Because as Melon said in the chat, roundabouts are really important in that game. But yeah, I got the latest DLC, which is pretty much Universal Studios, and you can have your own like studio tour, and you can have stunts and burning buildings, explosions that just get added. They give you so much stuff that you can mess around with and play with. Hotels, I think, have been added, so you can have a hotel in your park, so people don't leave. I think everyone's just now waiting for. Well, I'm guessing the next DLC is gonna be like water parks, because that was so popular on Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I can imagine this being the same. And I mean, I would get that, and possibly maybe a safari. Thinking, have like a safari or a zoo area. They might try and ride the back off Jurassic Park when that comes out.
I'm sure they've made like a zoo game before, but yeah, you got the Jurassic Park thing coming out now.
Yeah,
so,
Zoo Tycoon was
that niche.
Frontier had Zoo Tycoon as well.
Yeah, I thought
so. Yeah, I'm looking that like Planet Coaster. Probably gonna probably streaming some more of that tomorrow or next week. It's just really enjoyable game, and you can be really creative. Like I can just like I'm playing on an unlimited park at the moment, unlimited money. So I'm just trying things out and adding whatever I want and spending ages designing a little castle area. Yeah, if your mind's there, if you've got the imagination for it, you can build pretty much whatever you want.
Cool.
Yeah. But apart from that, that's really I've downloaded and I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. I'm just gonna try and get back into that. I've made it so that I can use my Xbox controller because it was great, but having all the keybinds and stuff on a controller where you hold down either L1, R1, L2, R2, and it kind of loads up. I don't. You've played Final Fantasy 14 on the PS4, haven't you? The control scheme on there is really good, I found, and then I made the switch to PC and didn't like it as much, or it was a little bit. I didn't know what buttons I was pressing, so I just plugged in my Xbox One controller and have been playing with it on there, and it's so much more comfortable and easier to play with.
Yep, spot on.
Correct. Also, I downloaded about an hour ago Conan, so I'm going to give that a go. I've heard great
This
things.
game seems to have a bit of momentum now, doesn't it?
Yeah, people love this. They're massive fans. So
We know why?
They've
still the dicks. Is it just because there's massive fucking dicks?
I think it got a huge update. It's got a huge update. There's some private servers. Yeah, huge servers.
Private servers, okay.
So there's some private servers I'm going to be on, and it seems to have a bit of a story or like quests and things like they say, go here and go and do that.
Wow. In an MMO? Jesus Christ.
Is it an MMO? I thought it was just like a survival game.
Is it not an MMO?
I don't think so.
I was assuming that game's a fucking full-on MMO. Do you not play with other people in that game?
Yeah, but isn't it a survival game? I don't know. I've not played it. I've only watched a little bit, and it looked like someone playing Skyrim, but with other people. Interesting. Melum says it's more like Ark.
Okay, so it's a survival game then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want a good survival game and you're fed up with Metal Gear Survive and State of Decay, then maybe this is the one.
Metal Gear Survive was a solid 4 out of 10. I don't get why people fucking rip on that game so much.
Solid 4 out of 10, yeah. Why would they complain when it's a good 4 out of 10? What's State of Decay so far?
I'm only 2 hours in, so I can't do that. But I think I would say like the aggregate at the moment is kind of high sixes, which I think there's probably a lot of content to that game. It just feels so fucking dated. It feels like there's nothing about this game that you couldn't have played on last generation, which is a piss take. When Microsoft are pushing the most, they keep on talking about this most powerful console ever released. Fucking make your games take advantage of it. There should have been. There was so much you could have done with that game, and I was genuinely excited for it. as much as people talk about zombie fatigue and stuff like that, I think there's something to be had in this post-apocalyptic big open world scenario, building on the shoulders of like DayZ and stuff like that. I really thought this game could have done something to bring that more kind of stressful and kind of long-term gameplay to a big console release, and they've done fuck all with it. It is literally State of Decay 1.5, which is so fucking depressing.
All Destiny again.
One of the big things with it was bringing co-op. Everyone's just saying the co-op's broken, and it's got that whole thing. And this is why I say it feels like a last generation game. It's got the whole thing where it rubber bands you to the server host. So if you're playing in your game, the co-op partner needs to stay within a certain radius of you. Like what year? It's 2018. Like you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want. Like it should be fully co-op. Explore that world. The world should look good. It should interact well, but it's just none of that. It's a real shame.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad because I'm stopping playing, trying to stop buying games. But
yeah, don't buy that.
I won't. All right,
like I say, it's 25 quid at least. At least it isn't 60 quid.
Yeah, but
I didn't have the cheek to charge you €80 for it then.
Waste of time though. That's what it is.
But it's 10 times better than Sea of Thieves.
Well, Sea of Thieves. Well, that's in the news. But do you want to do the news? In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
Every week we take a look what's happening in the news. Video game release dates and rumors. Do we know what's going to happen at E3? Well, if you listen to me, we will happily tell thee.
Ooh, the I like it. All right, shall we start with the big one that you've got to put on?
No, I don't forget. No? I don't deal in rumors and speculation. But I do deal in rumors. That's a lie.
It seems to be confirmed though. Like a lot of this.
Yeah.
Some of these, like the one that everyone thought was definitely not going to happen, looks like it actually got confirmed.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's go through it.
So
let's leave the E3 stuff. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not going to start with that. So first of all, Mario Tennis Aces got a demo coming out in a couple of days, so that's a bit of light news for you. Yay. But that's nice.
Have you heard about the new the new tennis game on PS4 that's come out? I think it's PS4 and PC. Nope. Called Tennis VA. It's got the PlayStation Home. It's the full screen kind of the featured thing. It's massive. It's like, hey, please guys, download this.
PlayStation Home.
No, the PlayStation Store Home.
Oh, right.
PlayStation Home, rip. PlayStation Store Home, you go on there, the featured thing is only this game. It's like, oh, look at this new cool tennis game. Looked at the reviews and it is terrible. It sounds like it's a 3-4 out of 10. Like, absolutely abysmal game. Don't buy it. So buy Mario
Tennis will be a little bit better. Like, I've got a soft spot for a tennis game. I think going back to Pong, there's nothing better. It's pure gaming. So I'm interested to try the demo just to make sure it's not too, gimmicky. In terms of power moves and stuff like that, but if it's decent, I'll consider it. Again, I'll add it to the list of fucking Nintendo games I don't think should be 50 quid. But we'll see how that one goes. But there's a demo in a couple of days. That is good news.
Yeah. Demos, like demos.
Yes, we do. Stalker 2 has been announced. Have you ever played a Stalker game, Ben?
No, but I really like the idea of it, the setting and stuff. Isn't it set in Chernobyl?
Yeah, so it's like a post-apocalyptic. I guess I assume the rest of the world is fucked up. Maybe not. Maybe just Chernobyl's fucked up. Yeah. But you kind of go in there and scavenge, and there's other raiders and shit like that. I was always really interested in it when I was kind of considering getting a gaming PC for the first time. This is one of the games that was top of mind in terms of I'll be able to play Stalker because it never came to PC. It was too mechanic heavy and just very PC centric. By the time I got to play it, it felt extremely dated. I've tried all of them, and they've got a huge following. But for me, I think I very much missed the boat on it. If I'd played them when they came out, I bet I would have fucking loved them.
Yeah,
very hardcore games, very serious games, mechanically dense. But like I said, I think the boat was passed on it. But good news is that a second one has been announced. So there's multiple Stalker games, but they've never been given. You've never had a Stalker 2. It's always been a subtitle. So Stalker 2 has been announced, and they're aiming to release in 2021. So not long, and you'll be able to play that.
2021. But have they said anything about the story? Is it something that you'd have to play this first one to get, or? I'm up for. Yeah.
They as far as I can tell, those games they never really had like a strong central story beat to it. I'm sure it was there, but it isn't a case of I'm sure you won't play as the same character or anything like that. It was always just more of it was very much an open world game, kind of play it as you want to play it. So no, I very much doubt that you'll need to play the other games to appreciate it. If they're intelligent, they won't assume that you're going to do that, I think, at this point. And I would guess that this will come to console as well. I'm not 100% on that. Let me check, actually. Let's see if they confirmed where it's coming. It'll be interesting to see if it's coming to... No, literally the site just says Stalker 2 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like
We'll
the
see.
theme to it. I always that was my favorite. I think my favorite ever mission in any Call of Duty game was that one where you're going through Pripyat. Just the setting and the idea that this is actually a real place, or although I think I mean Stalker's not going to be like realistic, but I just like that kind of that setting. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's got a realistic aesthetic, but obviously there's like mutants running around and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not really true to life, as far as I'm aware. Okay, moving into the E3 stuff then. So there's been a shitload of kind of rumors and leaks and stuff like that have dropped. So I'm going to kind of make my way through these. So the most notorious of them is that I think the Canadian Walmart ended up releasing some stock images of upcoming games. So I'll run through these with you now. Some of them we know about, some of them we don't. Like you quite rightly said, Rage 2 has now been kind of announced, which gives some legitimacy to all this. I'll take you through these games. Like I said, some of them we know, some of them we don't. So the first one is The Division 2, which has been announced based on a leak, but they did kind of come out after that leak and announce it. So we know that's coming.
Also, it's going to be before the end of March, apparently.
Yeah, spot on. So it's coming soon. I'm assuming they're not going for this year. So I would think this is a January, February type game, which I think is a good positioning for that. And I'm going to totally go back through the first one and kind of mop up the DLC.
Good game.
Because I really, really like those games. Yeah, agreed. Splinter Cell is the next one. Now, what is interesting on this is that it's down as a PS4 game, whereas it's kind of felt like the push has been for Xbox on this one. Well, saying that, it was the character came into Wildlands, didn't he? So I guess that's for PS4 and 360 as well.
That was the first talk, hint, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the talk in terms of conferences with Microsoft, because they're looking to, as far as I can tell, and I'll talk about this in a second. I think Microsoft are going to try and smash out the park with E3 this year. So the rumor is that Splinter Cell will be a heavy presence at their conference. But if you got 80 or 90 PS4s in the wild, very unlikely that you're not going to release a new Splinter Cell game on it. The next one is called Insurgency Sandstorm. No fucking idea what that is, but it sounds extremely generic, and I won't play it.
Yeah.
Last was 2.
Some people say Insurgency Sandstorm. I don't know if they've seen anything from it, but they think some people are saying it'd be cool if it was a Spec Ops type game.
That's just because it's got a generic name, I think. Like that's all I can imagine they're talking about there. I would imagine if you're going to get a sequel to Spec Ops, one of the biggest criticisms of that game is a shitty title, so I would assume that they would fix that. And they'd probably call it Spec Ops. Last was 2, we know about, obviously. Just Cause 4.
Very
which is really
surprising.
Yeah. What the fuck?
The third one was fun, but why?
It was fun, but like it was quite a large world, loads of missions and stuff, and realistically, once you'd done a tenth of it, you'd done it all, as far as I could tell. So I just stopped. They did release some interesting DLC, so when I bought it, I got like the whole kind of pack for it because it was a really good price on PC. And I think they released like a water-based DLC and also an airborne-based DLC. So potentially I'll go back and try those out because they are fun games. Don't take themselves seriously at all. But I'm very surprised that there's going to be a Just Cause 4, assuming that this list is correct.
I mean, this list
WWE
as well.
2K19.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah, blew my socks off.
There's like these games are all going. These are on a Canadian Walmart like pre-order site, so it means that, in my opinion, this means that these games are going to be coming out before E3 next year. If you can pre-order them now.
Yes. I don't think there's like outside of like Last of Us and maybe Death Stranding. I don't think there's many games that will be on anybody's radars that's going to come out.
Yeah, I mean
later than summer next year, I guess.
Last of Us 2. When do you think that's out?
Yeah, Dragon Quest 2. I I'm guessing that's some kind of remaster because there's a lot of Dragon Quest games. I'm not sure what that's about. Unless it's Dragon Quest Builders 2, I guess. That's what they
that's
mean.
that's what they've heard, and I think that hasn't been confirmed, has it, or leaked out?
It's been announced previous. I think it's definitely been announced previously that they're making another Dragon Quest. But we didn't know when it was coming out, maybe, or something like that. Like I said, some of these games are known anyway. There's something called Destiny Comet, which I'd assume is the next big DLC for Destiny. Have we got like a big DLC? I know one's just been released. Do we know? Is there one kind of already in the pipeline that we know of?
There will be, or there's going to be an expansion, not DLC, that's coming out. But so the next one could be. The thing is, do you think this is Destiny, or do you think this is just called? Well, yeah, I don't think a game would be able to have the word Destiny in it without having some serious issues.
Yeah, that sounds like a code name as far as I'm concerned. Like that's probably what they're referring to it as internally, and for kind of things like this.
There's hope there is a comet that comes, destroys the entire game, and then they rebuild it with something that's really good fun.
FF Remake is obviously on there. Metro Prime 4 is on there.
But
Smash Brothers.
It's kind of interesting that after this E3, you then might be able to pre-order Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, like the interesting thing with that one is it still episodic, because they talked about doing it in kind of 3 parts. I really hope they've changed their mind on that, and that they're kind of knuckling down on making this one game. But yeah, if it is still in parts, then potentially you could be looking at the first part sometime next year. You'd hope. Borderlands 3, which is obviously a biggie. I think there's so much potential for that game. Borderlands was doing what Destiny does before Destiny came out. And I think, they've recently had, what was it, Battleborn was it that they had recently? And totally fucking fell on his face. So hopefully they can come back with Borderlands and really rock it, because I've got a bit of a weak spot for Borderlands. I really enjoyed the first one. Second one turned me off a little bit with the humor. Didn't play the Moon one, but I really think there's a lot of potential for the Borderlands franchise, considering where we are with mainstream gaming right now in terms of co-op, online connectivity, big open worlds. I think it all makes sense. What I would say is Rage 2 could potentially steal some of this thunder. Like if Rage 2 has got some robust co-op modes and things like that, which I assume that it has, very similar aesthetic. They could eat each other's lunch in some way, and depending on which one is the best, and certainly if they're in proximity of each other, that could be an issue for those games. Assassin's Creed,
new Assassin's Creed.
The assumption with that one is that it would be what was the game like, Revelations to that kind of thing, where it's using basically the same engine, the same set, and the same character, but releasing a new game.
But it's interesting because it's the first one, like a remake of the first. Would you like that?
Oh, I don't know about that, Ben. I don't think that they're not self-aware enough to understand that they need to start again. I think Assassin's Creed.
Well, Assassin's Creed, the last one was called Origins, so like origin, kind of the origins of it, and then it comes back as a new one. Also, I think some people have suggested it could be Origins 2, because they'd have pretty much everything there, but they just have it as have a sequel.
I totally think that it's Origins 2. Yeah, I'm not necessarily called that, but I think they'll use the same assets. It'll be interesting because they've kind of set her in this really, like, probably the most iconic, old school setting that you could do, which is Egypt. And they kind of built it all. You had all the big hitters there in terms of the pyramids and stuff like that. So is it literally the same map?
I wouldn't mind it, because I finished that game 35 hours in, and like there was a quarter of the map I hadn't been to, because you unlock certain areas, and at the end of the game I looked and there were like 7 or 8 areas that I just hadn't even actually looked at. I hadn't even gone anywhere near.
A lot of it is desert, spoilers. Beyond Good and Evil 2, we know about that one. Rage 2, obviously we know that's now been announced. Have you checked out that announcement video?
Rage 2. No, I didn't check it out, but I've heard about it.
Looks really cool. It's coming from Bethesda. Cool aesthetic to it, kind of Mad Max, but they're injecting a lot of color into the world, a lot of like hot pinks and stuff like that to give it a bit of individuality. But like I said, potentially could clash with Borderlands 3.
I've heard
I've
heard rumors that Rage 2 was Mad Max 2. And Warner Brothers has lost the license.
The same dev is involved that built the first Mad Max.
But apparently
so potentially there's
and they've lost the Mad Max license, or they've got some kind of legal thing going on right now. Warner Brothers, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to whoever they give that to make a good Mad Max game, because it's a fucking travesty that there isn't one. Dreams we know of. Lego DC villains I don't think we knew about, but nobody cares.
Nope.
Is it
really?
I think that might be it. Forza Horizon. New Horizon game.
This is
Gears of War 5.
This is one of the reasons why I thought that this might have been fake, because they called it Forza Horizons 5, despite the last one being Forza Horizon 3, which, but yeah, Forza Horizons 5, like Dad.
Gears of War 5, is that really what Microsoft are going to go with? Like that. So I guess, well, there's one bit of news before I kind of talk about what Sony have talked about for this E3. So the rumor is that Fallout 3 is going to get an anniversary edition. It was initially leaked for Switch, and you'd assume that would come to PS4 and Xbox One. I think that makes a lot of sense. If you look at what they've done with Skyrim, they've milked that one to death. Makes sense now to kind of do something with Fallout 3 as well. I really hope they improve the combat. The manual aiming in it is absolutely appalling. So hopefully they fix that. But I think it's the right time to get a Fallout 3 out there. And this week I've been playing some Skyrim on Switch. I'm fucking blown away by how well that game runs on there. It is full on fucking Skyrim, and not like a compromised version of it. The load times are way better than what I remember when I first played that game on like 360. Obviously, it's very much the vanilla version, but you know what? I've spent years kind of chasing the dragon with Skyrim, trying to kind of find a new way to play it and modding it and being like, okay, I'm going to mod it this way and then put another few hundred hours in. And it always ends up the same way. I mod it and then just kind of fall off it straight away. I had one of the best Skyrim experiences that I've had since playing it originally on the 360 last night, just playing it on my Switch in the dark with headphones in bed. It was class. Being able to just kind of play it and press the standby button on the console, and I literally just pressed standby, put it on my bedroom cabinet, went to sleep, woke up, and just carried on in the morning. There's a magic to that, and it just works really well. And I think Fallout would do just as well. And it makes sense to bring kind of a revamped version to the PC and to the consoles, I would argue as well. I don't think the PC version is all that good because it's a fairly old game now, so it'd be good to get an up-to-date modern version of that.
I'd play that. I dropped off it really quickly. Well, I got out I think I played like 3 hours. I got to the place where you start your own base or something. But I kept going to another. No, I went all the way to the big city. Kind of.
Are you talking about Fallout 4 or Fallout 3?
Oh no, that was 4 actually. Yeah, no 3. No, okay, yeah, no 3. I haven't played.
Yeah, really good game.
Great.
You've added in about No Man's Sky, so they've announced. Is it when is it August, June?
End of July, I think.
End of July. Okay, cool. So obviously launched on Xbox, but also a big update coming to PS4 and PC. I'm hoping they optimize the PC version because it still runs pretty poorly. But the big news is that they're bringing multiplayer. So remember when they sold the game as a big multiplayer game and everybody bought it, and then we should have sued them. So now apparently they're making good on the multiplayer promise. So good for them.
Yeah, and
nice
guys. It's great they've done it. And I looked on the internet. Lots of hate for them. Lots of hate. Too late, too little, too.
I kind of think rightly so. Like, I honestly, I've said this a few times on the show. I think they would dice in with legality in the way, and the way that they promoted that game. I think very, very naughty. And I'm surprised that they didn't get fucked over. And it's no surprise that Sony, aside from the quality of the final release, which I quite enjoyed, but was nowhere near kind of hype levels, Sony disassociated themselves from that dev pretty fucking quickly.
You think we'll see a sequel?
No, absolutely not. I think that studio goes on to do something very, very different.
We've joined by a Mellum. Speaking of great disappointments, how are you doing, Mellum?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Just came home from work.
Oh, how was it?
It was great.
Yeah, you got to watch the podcast.
Yeah. And you guys have said so many things that's wrong today.
Oh, yeah.
No. Ben has said wrong things. I've said that.
I never say anything wrong at all. Apart from Division is one of the best games ever.
Should we bash out the last bit of news and then Mellum can correct us?
Yeah, then we'll have Mellum's corrections.
I was just kidding, by the way.
No, I feel like there was truth in it, so we need to explore it. And you're probably right. So Sony, the way I'm reading this, and this is a really kind of interesting approach to E3 this year. So Sony have kind of come out and said, look, this is what we're talking about at E3, which is a really strange move because typically E3, the whole fucking, like, I would question the point of E3 at this point. If you look at what Nintendo does, if you look at the way just the internet works, why do you really need a conference at this point? I get why you would have a conference in the past. It's to kind of focus attention of the media, but you don't really need that now. You can promote and release a video that'll have very much the same effect. So it seems a bit odd that Sony have kind of got in front of their E3 conference and said, look, this is what we're talking about. And that's not to say that there won't be surprises. I think they've said there will be some additional things from, and they made sure to mention additional things from third-party partners, so not themselves. And they've also come out to say that there's no hardware announcement, which, again, I thought was odd. I don't think anybody was predicting a PS5 announcement at E3, but they seemed concerned that people will be disappointed if there wasn't one. I think people will be disappointed if there was one at this point. Like PS4 is very much in a golden era right now. I don't think anybody's looking.
But there's been some hype on Reddit and stuff. I've seen like a few sites about the PS5 is just around the corner.
No,
and I think in a lot of ways it is. Like I think the earliest that you see it is winter next year. I think they could potentially get that for the Christmas period, but right now I think the sale is still selling crazy numbers. They've just released potentially their best game for it. And think you've still got Last of Us 2 to come. You've got Spider-Man to come. Like there's literally no reason for them to be talking about a new console. But they got ahead of that messaging, and like I said, they kind of describe what they're going to talk about. Very exciting for me. The first bullet point is Death Stranding. So that's going to be one of their focuses. So that's
can't wait to find out exactly what this game's about. I'm sure we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, good luck. But
I bet when you're done with Death Stranding, you don't know what it's all about.
Yeah,
we know less.
Jordan will send you a 50-page PDF and explain
it. Give me a month to read the internet, and I'll tell you what's about.
Yeah.
So, the fact that they're calling that out and that was their first bullet point tells me, and I'll be really disappointed if we don't get some kind of gameplay based on this. Like they're clearly honing in on it. And it's one of those things where you can show us trailer after trailer after trailer, and it can be this pretentious artistic stuff until you actually see somebody playing the game for 30 seconds. You don't know what that's going to be, and you tend to build something up in your head. But actually, games tend to play very, very similarly. Like this is probably a third-person combat game, right? So they tend to play fairly similar. But until we actually see it, we kind of in our heads we start to build up. Oh my god, it's going to be like some kind of transformative experience. And I think potentially from like a cinematic perspective, storytelling, it might be. I would just like, unless he's doing something really fucked up with gameplay, you've got to assume that this plays in some way similarly to MGS5. But we'll see, and it'll be really interesting to get that first glimpse of gameplay, which I hope that we will get.
I'm crossing my fingers for a really bad camera that we get like from up and we can't decide from which angle. I'm hoping for that because that was when Metal Gear was good and Resident Evil was good.
With the bad cameras.
And then they fixed the camera and then they got shit. So
hoping
I'm for a bad camera.
I see where you're coming from. Everything we've seen so far has been set in big open world areas. The latest one was like in a big canyon, so I don't think we're going to get a shitty camera. I think we're probably going to get a 3D camera. Sorry to tell you. The second bullet point was Last of Us Part 2. So again, I'd be very surprised if we don't get gameplay. I think the game is coming along nicely. I think this is coming out next year. I think they'll aim for it to be the swan song of PS4 in the same way that Last of Us was for PS3. And I think it'll also be a PS5 early launch window game. But again, I think we can. This is way less of a mystery than Death Stranding. I think I know what Last of Us is going to play like, but I still kind of want to see it. And Naughty Dog, for my money, best developer in the business in terms of making mainstream appeal games. I want to see what that next jump is. I thought Uncharted 4 was incredible. And I want to see what they do with The Last of Us. I think they'll push that envelope even further. Can't wait to see that one. Third bullet point is Ghost of Tsushima, the Sucker Punch game that was announced, I think, earlier this year. Was it last year?
Yeah.
Way less excited for that one, but again, nice. Kind of want to see what that looks like. Some kind of ninja running on
what
ropes
is it?
buildings type deal.
Hmm.
We don't know yet because we've only seen a cinematic, but based on the previous games that they've made, you'd assume that it's going to be, open world, third person, slick maneuverability through like a old school Japanese setting, I would assume. Feels like that kind of not genre, but that aesthetic is a little bit crowded. You've had Neo, potentially whatever From Software. If it isn't Bloodborne 2, then it looks like it's going into potentially like Tenshu or something in medieval Japan. So you could find that it's a little bit kind of similar to other games, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm sure it'll be a good game. And then Spider-Man. I'm going to close out the show with Spider-Man, obviously, because that's coming out in September, and that's going to sell more than fucking anything else this year outside of Red Dead, I would assume.
Yeah,
that's PC4 exclusive.
Yeah,
I got hyped to that actually when I've started watching a few things recently that've been released on Spider-Man.
As part of my MCU like run through, I watched the new Spider-Man film. That film is fucking brilliant. Like what a brilliant way to encapsulate that character. Like I'm not even a Spider-Man fan. But I just think the casting and the way that they made that film was superb.
Yeah, I've not seen it. So another British actor
on the back of that.
Homecoming.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So good, so good. And yeah, those are the 4 big bullet points, and I've got no doubt they'll have something to announce. But the interesting thing for me, like I said, is them coming out in front of it, and the way that I read that is that they know, being on kind of the inside of the industry. They know that Microsoft has got a really fucking good show lined up. And put it this way, if Microsoft hasn't got a good fucking show lined up, then just go home.
They'll need to.
I would say. But I think that Microsoft have kind of spent some money in terms of securing some third-party relationships and potentially some exclusives.
Yeah, I can see
Didn't Xbox win E3 last year? Win?
Was it? The year before,
I remember there was a really big Microsoft hype right after E3, but I can't remember what it was.
It's probably for the X, but like even if they did win it, which I doubt, for me they probably didn't win it because you had Shadow of the Colossus at E3 last year. But
I felt a little bit disappointed with Sony last year, so maybe it was last year. I didn't feel as hyped.
If they won it at the time, they haven't won it since, have they? Because what's come out? Literally nothing.
Where do you think...
Sony had... no, that was 2 years ago, the first teaser from God of War, wasn't it?
Yeah. With the music and the orchestra. I wonder which one... Which stage do you think the next Hitman will be on? Hitman Season 2. I bet that's going to...
Is there seasons even?
Well, they keep talking about Season 1, and it's the end of Season 1, and... So they're still referencing that. So I hope they do, because I really like the way that it came out episodically, but I know a lot of people didn't. So I wouldn't surprise me if they got rid of that. I'd be disappointed, but because I like it being one of these games that you play and then you play one of the maps again and again until the next one comes out.
Hitman needs more lore, more substance. If they just did something with the story where we could actually get a new Hitman, or we could get a story from some other Hitmans in the same, I don't know, agency or whatever he said.
There is quite a bit of lore, isn't there? But it's weird, but you have to go to strange places to find it, and especially in this latest one, there's no real place to find it.
Yeah, but it's more hidden than Dark Souls. It's
yeah. I didn't really play the old ones that much, or I did play them a little bit, but not that much, and I don't know if they've got more story than this one has, like a more background to what's happening. I just play it as a fun kind of open sandbox. There
wasn't that much. It was more about. It was in the 90s, It was all about look at this cool guy.
Yeah, but I can maybe see Microsoft sticking that on their stage, hoovering up IO.
They need everything they can fucking get.
Yeah.
Like, so to go back to the Sony point, like this is Sony getting out of the way for them, as far as I'm concerned. This is them saying, look, we've showed our cards, we've told you what we're releasing up until PS5. It's up to you guys. We know that we can't come there and have the same impact outside of probably Death Stranding. We can't come and have the same impact as talking about new games will have, because we're ramping down in terms of our console cycle. And I think it just gets ahead of Microsoft and says, you know what, guys, if you've got if you got stuff you want to show, fucking go and show it, and it'll be really interesting to see what Microsoft goes with, because they've got this new lovely bleeding edge console with nothing to play, like literally nothing to play at this point outside of OG Red Dead.
I hope PlayStation though shows some more about Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Yeah, you've got well, Kingdom Hearts might take precedent over that, because I think they did a preview event recently, and it looks like that game is looking potentially this year, if not early next.
But if that Canadian Walmart thing's true, and they do have Final Fantasy VII up for pre-order, then they're surely going to have something that says at the end of it, pre-order now, or I'm sure they'll have. I can
pre-order Final Fantasy VII on Amazon right now, so that doesn't necessarily.
Wow, I don't pre-order games on. Well, I do online, but that's it. On
I have
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna
store of it. All right, so we're going to questions.
One last thing before we do, Bethesda's event, potentially they'll talk about Starfield, which is their kind of new big game. So their new kind of to go alongside Elder Scrolls and to go alongside Fallout. And if they do talk about it, there's potential that comes out this year too, because that's what they did with Fallout 4. That'll be extremely upsetting in a good way.
Oh, they've also another bit of news as well. Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty was announced. Did you see that?
It's Battle Royale.
There's going to be a Battle Royale mode, and everyone's getting upset because there's a mode in it that's popular, and people don't like that.
They had Battle Royale all the time. It's Last Man Standing or something. They had in all games.
Yeah.
That's how many players?
20.
Wow.
In this new mode.
Oh, it's 100.
I know already.
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess 100.
Yeah, I think they said that they were trying to go for 100.
I think it looked like it was more about like big buildings, like a skyscraper or something. And conquer the skyscraper. If that's the case, it will be really cool, because that makes it more like an arena battle royale. So I'm up for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. Oh no, apparently someone says that the map for Call of Duty, the map of Call of Duty is technically I think they've worked out it's gonna be smaller than Fortnite, like a bit smaller than Fortnite.
Yeah, it seems so.
But I'm really looking forward to it. I'll give it a go. But the fact that Call of Duty's now, this one's just gonna be online only with no campaign, which is the big thing that people are like, oh my god, I can't believe it. But I don't know. I play Call of Duty now for the online mode, so if they're just going to pump loads of like all their time and resources into it, I'll give it a go. Like Rainbow Six Siege is an online only game. That sounds, and that game is like a multiplayer only game. That one works well. There's quite a few games out there that are multiplayer only that work really well. Overwatch.
It's 100% the right move. You're never going to be able to remove something from a game without people complaining. I've been saying it for years at this point. It's 100% the right move for them to do.
And they've got
with Fortnite and PlayerUnknown and stuff like that, they've seen the direction that games are going, and they know that they can't. Like, COD is going to sell for the next 5 years, right? But it has plateaued, and it will go downhill if they don't do something drastic. And I think this is them doing something.
Yeah, so like guys, you just go on the online mode. And like War mode, I think, is the latest one where you play for objectives, and then it progresses to the next phase, and then it goes on to the next phase. I think that's where they're going to tell the story. With these like I think Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 had that, where you're all trying to break open this area, then like you do, and you can progress to the next part, then it progresses to the next part. When I played the demo of Battlefront 2, there was this like 45-minute battle or 30-minute battle where we just like had different stages that you went through, and I think that's what the story really is going to be like. Yeah, go for them. And also it's already on the Blizzard launcher. Have you seen? It's sitting under Destiny 2 on the Blizzard on Battle.net now. It's not going to be on Steam.
I remember Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Great game.
No reviews, no refunds.
Go on, in questions.
Question 2. Okay, Jordan, you ready for question? You do the singing?
Gonna ask me a question today. I'm gonna tell you the answers. Yay.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Right, where is it? Let me see. Because we've got some from the Discord. All right. What makes you decide to play a game? Is it the marketing and the hype, or is it just you genuinely want to play it?
It's the political stand.
Yeah, of the developer.
Yeah. I only play right-wing games.
I only play leftist and Marx comics.
Marxist
One's not owned by a company that's worth anything more than a million. No, I do follow a lot of hype. Like if it's getting really hyped up, I'll probably give it a go. I'm a asshole like that. But yeah, just recently I've been playing games that are kind of old and I like it. Yeah, City Skylines 3 years old. Just fancied giving it a go.
Yeah.
I've tried to just stick to like genres I enjoy now.
I think at this point I've got a good kind of intuition as to what games I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah,
and that can sometimes siphon me off into a smaller area of video gaming a little bit. I do try my best to come out of that, but outside of that, like I know what I'm going to like, put it that way. And outside of that, I tend to play anything that's universally critically acclaimed, because I just want to know why it's so good, and because that'll be like the building blocks of video games kind of going forward. Like if everybody likes it and it's really successful and it sells loads, you can assume that that's going to influence kind of games going forward. So even if it's not a game that I would necessarily play, assumably I would enjoy it because other people have. And like I said, I'd probably need to know about it in terms of coming on this show and talking shit about video games.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like if it's a massive game release, I want to play it just so I can talk about it on the podcast, but also if it's getting a lot of like universal acclaim. Celeste was one of them for me. Like a precision platformer. I didn't like Super Meat Boy. He just didn't do anything for me. And like a really, really difficult platforming game just sounded like hell to me. But it was getting such good, such positive reviews that I played it. And yeah, so far it's one of my favorite games this year. Sometimes look at the reviews. What about you, Melum?
Yeah, probably the same. And there is like a thing now because of internet and all the information we get, they say that like marketing and stuff, it has really changed the last 10 years because now we get so much information about everything, so we can just check it out and talk with people that have used stuff and everything. So like commercials and hype like that doesn't work the same way as it did used to do.
Yeah.
So reading reviews and stuff, I guess that's the way I buy games.
Yeah, and for me, like I don't read like a lot of long form reviews of games.
I mean private amateur reviews.
Yeah, totally. So I tend to like my Twitter is set up so that it's basically a mix between video game industry insiders, whether that's journalists, developers, commentators, whatever. And then I've got kind of the like 50% of it is like politics. So if I'm going through my Twitter feed and there's a big new game release, generally it's going to get surfaced to me whether people like that game or not, or hinting before like an embargo breaks and stuff like that, or during the preview cycle. And if you think about like, so you know, when I was a kid, like really young, and I used to buy video game magazines, like that. This is pretty much pre-internet or pre kind of wide usage of the internet, and you'd read a magazine, and that was pretty much all you could know about this game. There's no other resource, and realistically, those games were in cahoots with game publishers and stuff like that. You know, they would tell you that some shitty 2D side scroller on
they could have sold you any game through those magazines.
Yeah. You'd be like, look at it, it's so fucking it's Batman. It's Batman. That's all it would say. It's Batman. Buy it, and I would agree. And I would buy it.
Yeah,
I will. Okay. So yeah, it's a really good place to be right now. When you got Reddit, you got Twitter, you got YouTube. Like realistic, and I need to do more of this. Like whenever I'm on the edge, on kind of on the fence about buying a game, just fucking go on YouTube and watch an hour of it. You'll know pretty quickly whether that game is for you or not.
Yeah,
and Twitch, obviously.
Everyone they have their favorite reviewers as well. Who I really trust. Jim Sterling is one of them for me right now. Do you listen to his? I've just been listening to his podcast the last few weeks, and I after this one, of course, and Twitch Play, it's one of my favorites. Really,
is Laura Dale still on there?
She is, yes.
And the Irish chap.
Yeah, he's all right. He doesn't really play games. So I don't know. He's on there, but he's like, "Oh, what have you been doing today? Oh, I played a bit more Assassin's Creed Origins. All right."
It's like
a bit of a side note. What always bugs me when you listen to a gaming podcast, you got these people. These are paid professionals. They're not like me and you, where we're just doing this as a hobby. These are paid professionals. They're very much like beyond the looking glass in terms of the video game industry, and they sit there for hours worrying about, should I buy a PlayStation Pro? Yeah, you should buy a fucking PlayStation Pro. This is your job.
This
is what you do.
Yeah, I was listening to Giant Bomb the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I'm not going to buy this game. It's like, oh, I don't want to spend $50 or $60 on this." I'm like, I do this as a hobby, and I still buy it, but surely they could just get codes and stuff. I don't understand.
Like I get it with games. There's a lot of games. When it like not that many consoles get released, and when that's your job. Yeah. Like literally, your job is to criticize and to understand the kind of the granular details of how video games work and what games are coming out and wherever else. And I get that you'll be in an office and you'll have consoles at hand, but still, I would have the way if these people are talking for hours on end about video games, I just think that the decision of whether you should spend £300 and minus from that if you're going to sell your old console anyway once every 5 fucking years, for me it's inconsequential. It really winds me up that that's even a conversation that they need to have.
In other words, Mellum needs to buy a Switch. Yeah, it's your
yeah, you do, Mellum.
Yeah, no, but I'm probably gonna do it in June.
Colton, do you know Colton Candy?
Because that's when we get money for we got a thing in here in Norway.
Oh, nice.
Get money in June in Norway.
Yeah, but we get money. We save like, I think it's 12% every month, and we get it paid out in June for holidays.
Like mandatory or?
Yeah,
everyone have to do it?
Everyone does it.
That'd be amazing. Just in June, getting like 12% of your what? So you get like a wage and a half.
12% of our wages.
Just taking out your pay and then just give them back to you.
Tax free.
Do you get interest on it?
In June. No. The company gets
Why are they taking your money away from you, Mel?
It's a saving thing.
That sounds great.
And it's tax free.
There's no interest.
But tax free is better.
Still, we save. You know how much tax we pay?
For the holidays.
Yeah. That's nice. Oh, they give you money to go on your holidays.
Stop talking about it.
That's why they're always here.
Tell your government no.
No, but it has something to do with it's also when we know if we got minus or plus on our taxes, we have to pay back.
So is it something to do with the overall like government deficit or something?
Yeah. So it's a whole thing. But anyway, we get that in June.
Nice, so you get your Switch.
Fucking Switch.
Yeah, I was talking. I did the 12-hour podcast yesterday, and there's a guy Colton Candy in there, and I was mocking him for not having a Switch. And I was like, "Oh, you should get a Switch. You'd like a Switch."
That's really elitist, man.
I know, but then like 2 hours later, 2 hours. Then he disappeared. 2 hours later, he came back and said, "Oh, I bought a Switch." It's like I've just been to the pressure. So brilliant. And he hasn't been back on there since because he said, "Oh, I'm just going to start up Breath of the Wild." Didn't hear from him again. He disappeared. So hope he's
killed himself. He's broke.
Yeah, I know.
He can't afford to watch this stream anymore.
His internet's been cut off.
Such a good game. Okay, one more question, and this is a good one. This is sent by Malom Menen in the chat, who said, "What genre of games do you wish you'd played more?" And when you said that, I was immediately.
It's a question.
It's a good question because I immediately thought fighting games. Like I wish I'd played more fighting games as a kid. Because I think now it's difficult as a
Smash Brothers
30-year-old man.
Smash Brothers has come in.
Yeah, but I'm old. I can't play those games. I haven't got that kind of reflexes. But you got to like press 20, 30 buttons in a row, and then all they'll do is poke him in the eye or something. Isn't it that kind of thing?
Smash Brothers doesn't work like that.
You don't have to be a pro, man.
I know, but the second you start playing online, and then you don't even get a punch in, you're like, oh shit. I just deleted Tekken today, actually, off my PS4. So,
Tekken is easy.
Yeah, thought you'd enjoy that. I didn't realise that Noctis on Tekken's like a £8 DLC. Through that. So Jordan, which genre do you wish you'd played more of?
My initial thoughts, because there's not many genres that I don't play the best games of. So if something comes, like I said earlier, if something comes out and it's universally acclaimed, it's probably irrespective of genre, I'm going to go and play it. Probably to a fault, because there's a lot of games that I buy and I'm like, George, I play for like 10 minutes. I'm like, you knew you were never going to fucking enjoy this.
Yeah, same here.
But in terms of stuff that I don't play right now that I feel I should play more of, my initial thoughts go to MMOs, and not just any MMOs, but EVE Online is something that I just admire from a distance. I've read a fucking book on EVE Online, like a non-fictional historic account of that universe, and I've got so much respect for what they've built up. And when I was a kid and kind of thinking about what games would be in the future, definitely one of the things that I had in my head was something similar to EVE Online in terms of this persistent online universe where you fly spaceships around.
Don Beagles is loving it here.
It is like a Dungeons and Dragons, just sci-fi and you fly ships.
It's just video games full stop, isn't it? It's just Dungeons and
Yeah,
Dragons,
but I mean, you write your own story and it's actually has an impact.
Yeah, spot on. There's no like overall campaign and stuff like that. And I think as good as those games are, I think they'll develop now over the next couple of decades. And I'm waiting for that perfect merger of EVE Online and Elite, because EVE Online has got all the depth and this big online persistent universe, and then Elite looks the part.
Gameplay. Yeah.
And it's 3D, and when those two worlds collide, you won't fucking see me. Like and it'll be VR. Like I've played Elite already in VR, and it's fucking amazing.
That game is coming.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Can I interest you in a game called Star Citizen?
Star Citizen. It's made.
That's not a game. That's a mistake.
Ouch. What about you, Melon? What game? What genre? You should played more of.
What genre is Monkey Island?
Point and click adventure.
Yeah, there's some.
I thought your answer was Monkey Island. That was the genre.
That's the genre. I wish I played more games like that.
Grim Fandango.
Monkey Island genre.
I never played games like that.
Do you play Broken Sword?
No.
No, yeah, Broken Sword I used to love. Grim Fandango.
Did you say yes to Grim Fandango?
No, you didn't play.
Played Grim Fandango.
Oh, go play Grim Fandango. That's the best of them.
Yes.
It's a really bad genre, but that's the good one.
Love that game. I'll go to Twitch, youtube.com/BiggusBennus, and you can watch the first.
I guess Undertale is kind of like it.
Yeah.
With some RPG in there.
I'll play that one day.
You are gonna play? It's coming out on Switch.
Yeah, I will. I'll get it on Switch. Why not?
Sounds so depressing.
No, I'm just trying to think of. I've got so many games.
Because my initial thought was RTS, but I played a lot of RTS and I love it. I saw a stream about a dude that went through the campaign on Warcraft 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
And oh my god, what a great campaign! That's like Blizzard really nailed it with Warcraft 3.
How old is that game now?
2000. Yeah, let's see. That's old. 2002.
Is that like the last of the RTS Warcraft? Went to StarCraft after that, I guess.
Yeah, it's StarCraft after that.
Yeah, I can't think of.
But it was a DLC, The Frozen Throne.
I wish when I was a kid I'd actually stuck with certain games
better
to finish. Like when I was a kid, I used to play games for about a few hours and then just stop. Just play loads of demos. But... All right, well, that is going to be it. Don Beagle says stuff.
I think we should all play more Metal Gear Solid. That's the genre that I think you should all get into.
I should have played that when I was
action genre.
10 years old. I'd have loved that. All right, so we're going to put this podcast out of its misery, and we'll be back. Well, John will be back in 2 weeks as a married man.
Wow.
Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, you're not single for long." It's like, well, I'm pretty sure Laura didn't think I was single for the last 5 years anyway. I wish I knew I was. Fuck me.
Yeah, because I love it.
Putang. Didn't know?
No.
Didn't know.
Oh, it can be. So, are we? I'm looking forward to that. To finding out all the gossip. Do we get pictures and stuff next week? In 2 weeks.
Seems so.
Interesting. So, guys, follow Jordan on Twitter. JRDN Rees REES.
Mate.
Aren't you gonna stream your?
Yeah, Twitch live stream. As Rob says.
IRL.
I think that's a no. Yeah, we'll be back next week for Twitch Play. our sister podcast, the more popular, more fun, more exciting one. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with Jordan, Mello and Andre, hopefully for the normal click play one. And the website's back up now. I don't know what happened, but I think I needed to update to the latest WordPress. That was it. But you can go and watch whatever you want on there. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, people. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.